today we have a spot showcase, and I really like this guy. Like, he is so much fun to play. I feel like he does have a very solid set of utility, and his damage is very good as well, but it's the animations that do it for me. He is, like, such a cool character animations-wise. So we're going to start off in Battlegrounds. This is a rank 3 Tiger, I believe, and I just want to show him in Battlegrounds because I feel like that's where he's going to shine the most. He is a very strong Battlegrounds character. You're going to see why right here. So we're going to build up to our untouchable, build up our ruptures, and now we have some ruptures going. So now we're going to build up to untouchable again, and then after that we're just going to drop the SP2, and then that should be it. So here, trigger untouchable, we go in, and yeah, look at that damage, man. It is just surreal. And that was just 36 seconds as well, which is just incredible overall. So now we have this Mojo, and Mojo is very annoying with his prompts and his degen, but Spot does have access to buff immunity on his SP1. It can be up to 20 seconds long, which is very, very solid. But I don't go for it here in this matchup because in Battlegrounds, you really just want to go for speed. So I was like, okay, I'll just not do the SP1. I'll just go straight to the SP2, see if I can hopefully get lucky not to Dex at all. Which Spot, to be honest, doesn't really have to Dex because he has his untouchable mechanic. So, like, you can Dex with him if you want, but you really don't have to because it is untouchable, right? So here I go for the SP2. Very nice damage. And yeah, he's down. I could have, like, walked away with much more health there had I not, like, triggered his degen, or if I didn't portal block that SP2. But now we have this Ebony Maw, and Maul is very annoying, of course, with this degen. A lot of degen in the Mystic class. But yeah, Spot, he's very good for Ebony Maw, especially in, like, non-battleground scenarios where you can just freely use the SP1 for utility. There I kind of got hit, but untouchable triggered, so I didn't, like, get full comboed. But yeah, this fight, pretty smooth overall. If I wanted to, I can just trigger the buff immunity here, and I can just, like, make the Fury buff go away, but I chose to just, like, let it stay. I go for the heavy attack here, and then I bait out a hit there, and I drop the SP2, and then that should be it. Yeah, look at that damage. It's so nice. I feel like damage is his strong suit, but he also does have a variety of utility, which we'll get into in a little bit. But yeah, that was like a 45-second fight, which is very solid for a 5-star character. And now we have this Magneto because I didn't want to do just, like, only Mystics. So this Magneto is just, like, here because he is a non-Mystic character. Same rotation as always. He just has a set rotation pretty much. Like, you just build up to 5 spots, trigger untouchable, trade blows, build up your ruptures, and then you can just build up to untouchable again, trade blows one more time, drop the SP2, and that should be it. Like, it's a very simple rotation. It can just be annoying, like, having to portal block so often, I guess, but it's not the worst in the world because you get a lot of block efficiency when you do portal block, so you will be, like, you won't lose too much health, is what I'm trying to say. So here you bet out the special attack, get the Fury buff, we just go in here, drop the SP2, very nice damage, and yeah, that was a very solid fight. That was 44 seconds overall. So those first few fights were possible by the help of my friend Harry. Like, big shout out to him for helping me in this showcase. And this was actually, like, part of like an actual Battlegrounds match. Like, this was a non-friendly. I was pushing the victory track, and I just, like, came across this perfect scenario to use Spot. So this is a rank 5 Dr. Doom, and I did take a bit of damage here, but overall he is very solid for Doom. Like, at a higher star level, when you have, like, more health to work with, he'll be very solid for Dr. Doom. Because just look at this damage that we do in the end. I try to bait out a heavy attack. I got it there. I get the Fury buff. I go in, and it was honestly so much overkill. So much overkill. And that was, like, a 35-second fight, which is phenomenal. Now, to end off the Battlegrounds part of the showcase, we have the Symbiote Supreme. I like Spot versus champs that, like, don't have regular power gain. Like, you know, like, Symbiote Supreme, Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme. They all gain power like over time. And I kind of like Spot for these matchups just because it's like less special attacks to worry about for the most part. Because you're not really going to trigger buffs. You're not really going to trigger like MD too often. So you can just like go in so much more often than you can versus normal champs. So it's really, really cool overall. And I think he's great for these characters. Yeah, so we're already doing pretty, like, good numbers. I could have just dropped the SV2 there, pretty much. I just chose to go for another Untouchable, though, just to be safe. Because you do want to be safe in Battlegrounds. Like, as much as you want to end the fight quickly, you also want to be safe. But, yeah, it was total overkill, man. Look at that damage. It's just so solid. That was a 41-second fight. So now it's time for the regular act part of the showcase. We're just going to stick to Act 7 in the showcase because I might do a part 2 of this guy, honestly, because I think there's a lot to explore with this champion, and I think just one showcase isn't really enough. So that's why I'm going to preserve like using him in Act 8 because I feel like I can just do a whole part 2 showcase. So yeah, this is Immortal right here. I just want to show how he does versus Mordo, which is very solid. He does very good against Mordo, and I think it's partly because of the Infuriate, which is a very nice utility piece. His Infuriate is so good because they just play super aggressive, and you can just trade blows very often with them. So yeah, I really like his Infuriate. I feel like it is a massive part of his kit because if the opponent was passive the whole time, that would just be so annoying to deal with. But thankfully, he has the Infuriate, so he's a very practical character in my opinion. I feel like he is a practical champion. I don't know how other people feel about him practicality-wise, but I think he's practical enough. Also, look at that heavy attack, man. That heavy attack is such a nice animation. Okay, but we're about to trigger Untouchable. We trigger it here. Yeah, I dropped the SP2. I was like, you know what? I'm just not going to wait for it. And it finishes him off, I believe. Oh, no, it doesn't. Okay, well, now he's finished off, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, a pretty solid time overall. Now, I firmly believe that this is the best fight in the history of fights ever, because this is just, like, it is, you just have to see for yourself just how crazy this is. So, it's a normal start, right? But this has persistent pressure, and he's going to go unstoppable, and you're just going to see what happens. So, basically, we just, like, keep trading blows, and then we get so many ruptures because of Falcon's SP1, and this is just, like, the greatest thing of all time. And I was thinking, is his way to stop Unstoppable just, like, ignoring it? Like, he is ignoring it right now. Like, we're both untouchable pretty much, and we're just both trading blows. And I feel like that's his way to counter Unstoppable, and that's just, like, absolutely absurd. I love this champ because he is such a wacky character. Like, his utility is pretty wacky because, like, his utility is the fact that he can just, like, not be hit, right? He just cannot be hit, and you saw right there that he just was not being hit. Like, that's his way to counter Unstoppable. It's just he ignores it. And yeah, I just think it's the greatest thing ever, like how he counters certain things because of his miss mechanic. Like, I would never have thought that he'd be good for Unstoppable, but he is very good for Unstoppable because he just can't be hit. And he can just hit the opponent while they're unstoppable. But now I was curious. I was like, okay, so he's pretty good for Unstoppable. What about Unstoppable and Evade? So this is the Footloose lane in 7.1. And to be honest, he works for it. Like, he isn't the best option, of course, but it's doable. And it's mainly because he just ignores everything with his miss. So, like, there's that, man. Like, his miss is just absolutely broken. Like, you can see right there, we're just trading blows. I throw the SP1 into his block, but it's actually a safe thing to do because he jumps back, like, after he throws his SP1. So he can, like, just block the hit when they try to retaliate. And this is also why he's pretty annoying on defense as well because, like, he recovers so fast from his animations. It's honestly absurd. And it's just, like, that's one of the reasons why he's annoying on defense, in my opinion. But yeah, now we're just trading blows. It is the funniest thing ever to watch him just trade blows with the opponent. But yeah, we're almost done with this fight. We just need to portal block a couple more hits, and then we should be good. Like, yeah, we're almost there. It's annoying when they just, like, spam heavy attack when you're trying to portal block, but he can block heavy attacks when he has at least 4 spots, I would say. It's a 20% chance per spot to, like, resist heavy and unblockable attacks. So I don't like doing it unless I'm, like, at 4 or above, right? Because that's when it becomes an 80% to, like, 100+% chance to, like, resist those attacks. So now we have this kinetic transference lane, and my thought process was, okay, we don't have to block, right? Because we're just going to miss a bunch. But I didn't take into account that to get the untouchable, we have to block a bunch. So I wouldn't say he's the best kinetic transference counter because he does have to block. But after he does, like, do his 5 blocks, you can kind of just not have to block ever again unless you have to, like, trigger untouchable again. But yeah, this is still a pretty cool fight just because any fight with Spot is cool. Look at his animations, man. They're so awesome. Like, I love his last light attack when he, like, does the portal punch. His SP1 is so awesome. And you're going to see right here, I try to use the Infuriate, and it does work to my advantage. And yeah, this fight is a pretty smooth fight overall. I think I get her down in 1 SP2, which is pretty nice. Also, I like when he can portal block special attacks because you're going to see I utilize this very well in one fight that's coming up. And it works so good for champs with projectile special attacks. Like, that is his bread and butter. If, like, you can just portal block a special attack that has a ton of hits, you are just absolutely chilling. So here we go for the SP2. And it is some pretty nice damage. Look at that. That was such a clean ending to the fight. So that fight was very clean. Here is the opposite of clean with this Dr. Doom fight. And I'm still kind of 50-50 on if this guy's a good Dr. Doom counter because, like, on one hand, he does have buff immunity. He does have physical damage, which is, like, one of the best ways to counter Dr. Doom. Like, that's why the Overseer is so good for Dr. Doom because he is just all physical damage. And on the other hand, the fact that you have the portal block is very annoying because Spot does get bonus block efficiency, like, with his portal blocks, but Doom just, like, completely ignores it for some reason. Like, you can see right there, we took a lot of damage from that portal block. Like, Spot gets, like, plus 8,000 block proficiency, I believe, like, when he's portal blocking, but I don't think it, like, applies to Doom because of his block penetration, which is just very annoying. But yeah, this SP2 is pretty nice. I didn't, like, get the maximum damage off of it though, but it was still pretty solid damage. But this is where it gets pretty sketchy because, like, I just can't finish him off for some reason. I have to build up the SP2 again, but I have to portal block first though and get some ruptures going before I can drop the SP2. So I drop it here, and this is the weakest spot SP2 I've ever seen in my life, but it's because the fight was already over anyway. But yeah, that was still a pretty solid time. That was like 1 minute and 6 seconds. Okay, now we have this on the brink path, and my thought process was I never have to hit their block, and once they are unblockable, I can just miss them, right? And that's a pretty good thought process, in my opinion. And you can see right there, he threw a heavy attack, and we just straight up blocked it. Like, that's how good the portal block is. You can just, like, ignore so many things with it. I might make a separate video on just, like, how to utilize his portal block, because it's a very good ability. And, yeah, this fight is going pretty well. I'm going to try to get a massive SP2 to finish him off. But yeah, he has the same rotation for just, like, every fight, man. It's just you portal block, go untouchable, do a lot of damage, and then you just repeat that. Pretty much. I'd say that's how Spot works. So yeah, now we have 50. That's the maximum. We go for the SP2. Pretty nice damage. Wasn't enough to finish him off though, but it was close enough, you know? You can just round up and then he would be dead, you know? But I forgot to mention that he honestly does have to change his playstyle a bit if you do want buff immunity, because when he has 10 spots and he throws the SP1, he gets a 20-second buff immunity rather than the 10-second one. So that's the only time you, like, change your rotation for Spot. And it doesn't really affect his damage all too much, in my opinion, so there's that. Okay, this fight is very entertaining. This is why I, like, did the whole path in the first place. This is a Punisher 2099, and I think you know where this is going. Punisher 2099 has, like, a 200 hit SP1, and so when we portal block that, we're just going to get untouchable very fast. There I kind of messed up because I didn't like let him hit into me first before I consumed my rupture, which is unfortunate, but it's fine. And yeah, you can just see right there, that was pretty cool. Yeah, any champion that has a lot of hits on their special attack is just like perfect for Spot. That's what he likes. He likes portal blocking a ton of attacks at once, so he can just retaliate with the pretty massive rupture damage. So yeah, this fight going pretty smooth so far. I just want to like portal block his special attack so badly because it's so fun to do. Like portal blocking special attacks is probably the most fun thing to do with Spot. But he's just such a fun character overall anyway, so it's like, it doesn't even matter. But yeah, look at that. We portal blocked the whole SP2, and now we're back at Untouchable just like that. So now we just need to let him use a heavy attack. We retaliate with the medium attack, and then look at this damage, man. 76,000 per hit. That is a bit absurd. Like, that is a bit absurd. That is such good damage. Now, before we show the boss that I have for you today, I just want to like show the path that I had to take before the boss. This is such a fun lane for Spot. It's Tyranny and Power Shield, and Spot is just so crazy for Power Shield, like, because his physical burst damage scales with the attack rating from Power Shield, so like you're just doing so much damage from your burst. Spot, yeah, anything that can increase his attack rating is just nuts for him. That's why I highly suggest using the recoil masteries with him. Like, he has a team to make him recoil masteries friendly. I think he can clear lanes all by himself. I think he is more than capable of doing that, especially with the recoil masteries where fights are over in a flash. This whole time I've been using the Dimensional Being Synergy team, which is Purgatory, your choice of Mephisto or Hood or Magic, and Dormammu as well. And then the Nick Fury Deadpool X-Force Synergy. And this lets you just become so recoil masteries friendly. And you can see right there that was such a nice SP2. So now we have this Annihilus, and it's on the same exact node. And Spot is honestly a pretty good Annihilus counter just because, like, he just doesn't care. You can just, like, ignore everything. His Unstoppable you can ignore. His Stun Immunity you can ignore. You can just ignore so much about Annihilus with Spot. And that's just Spot in a nutshell. You just ignore so much because of like his portal block and his Untouchable. There's just so many things he is good for because of his like very niche utility. Honestly, it's not even niche. It's just not niche. It's so general because it expands to so many things that he's like good for, right? So yeah, I think Spot is such a good character. Like, he is so good. But I'm probably going to do a review for him because I want to start doing that for every character. I did one on Spider-Man Supreme, which was an overall positive review because I think he is a great character. And I think he's getting a bit too much hate, but that's just me. And yeah, Spot, the second champ of the month, I think is just as good. Probably better overall, if I'm being honest, just because this Miss Mechanic is just so good. And now we dropped the SP2, and yeah, so fun, man. I love Spot so much. And it was a pretty solid time as well. So I only did one boss today because I feel like I just wanted to save the rest for part 2 showcase if I choose to do it. Because I feel like the Battlegrounds already played a big portion of the showcase, so I didn't want to like use more time up with bosses. But yeah, this is a Magneto boss in 7.2. And Spot is just so good for him, man, because he has Spite, but we have buff immunity. Magneto has unblockable special attacks, but we can block unblockable special attacks. We can just block any unblockable attack, and we can also just like miss it when we have Untouchable active. So yeah, he counters him in so many ways. It's like, it is absurd. Yeah, I feel like he's one of the best counters to this Magneto boss. He is such a good counter to Magneto in general just because, yeah, he just is, you know? He's just so general that he's a good counter to him. Like, that's my thought process. Like, right there, we blocked the unblockable special attack, and it did do quite a bit of damage. I don't know why that happened, though. Like, I feel like that shouldn't have been that much damage, but we just missed the special 2 right there. And, like, this is why I love Spot. Like, we just miss everything. Or we can just block everything. It's such a good ability, man. I think Spot is such a good character. Like, I will die on that hill. I think he's a great champion. But yeah, this fight is almost over pretty much. We just need to like drop one more big SP2 and that'll be it. Our health is looking pretty low though, but to be fair, this is a 5-star versus like a very chunky boss, so I'm not surprised. But yeah, we just need to trigger Untouchable one more time. We have it here, so we can just go in. And yeah, this should be pretty much it. I think we bait out one more special attack. Yeah, right there. We get the Fury buff, or the Fury passive, and then we drop the SP2. And that is it. A very, very solid fight overall, and a very solid time as well. And that also wraps up the showcase. So, let me know your thoughts on Spot. You know what? Only positive thoughts on Spot, because I really like this guy and I don't want to see any hate towards him. And yeah, I feel like he is a very solid addition to the game. I feel like he has a lot of utility. His damage is very, very, very good. His damage is so good, man. It is surreal how good his damage is. And yeah, that's about it for me.